Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back home in Hernando. Blue Eyes is here too, except he's not here right now. He's out, but he came back with me. I came back with him. Rocket's barking about something. I don't know what. I had gone to Jacksonville with him in his van, so he's the one who brought me back home, and he's staying for a few days. So I have a lot to fill you in on. He got out of the hospital Thursday late afternoon, early evening, right? Yes, today is Saturday, October 7. So Thursday night he came home. Friday we got up and started packing to get me back here to Hernando. And first, let me fill you in on that a little bit. I took back almost everything that I brought for my office space. Well, first of all, most of those things go back and forth with me. My computer, my keyboard, all that stuff. And I knew the fabric would have to go back and forth with me because I also sell on eBay and that stuff is up all the time. So I have to bring that with me with shipping supplies and stuff like that. I have to bring that back and forth with me in case it sells. And I have to be able to ship it out from either location. So I have to have all that. But I also took back my sewing machine too. And, some other things that I probably wouldn't need. I decided that it will be really, really hard to do that kind of work, sewing, fabric selling, things like that, while I'm there. Selling some fabric, maybe. But I was becoming overwhelmed when I would walk into that office space and see the work I had caused myself to create because the whole point of me giving up the fabric business is because I did not want to work that hard and that many hours again, because I'm trying to be at least semi-retired and I have YouTube and I wouldn't mind doing something else. But if Blue Eyes goes to work full time and I'm there with fabric, I'm just going to fall into the rut of working around the clock, and that's not what I want. So my options are, if he does get a job, and he's not going back to that road construction one. He absolutely hated it. It wasn't at all what he expected, and he knows he wouldn't be able to stand there 12 to 14 hours throughout the night. So that's out, but he is on the hunt for something else, and he most likely has another roofing job, but as the, not general manager, is that what they call it? Yeah, I was going to say general contractor, but he's the project manager. So he's not on the roofs. He's the one in charge of the other guys. He has done that for many years, different times. He loves that. He's good at that. So I'm hoping he gets that. But if he's going to be gone most of the week during the week, then I'm going to most likely not be hanging out there the entire week with him. I could come midweek. I know that means driving alone my car, but I want to try that because it'll give me time to do stuff here that I want to do. So that's one option. The other option is that if I do go for the week, there's nothing going on here and I'd like to go, just going to focus more on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't need to be selling a shitload of fabric. For my exclusive shoppers, I am still going to be selling fabric, and I'm excited about ordering or just going out and buying fabric that I can cut. I enjoyed that. I just don't want to do it 60 hours a week. I just want to do it now and then when I can. But I'm going to have fun with that. And if I'm not pressured to do it, I will be way more successful at getting it done. And when I was walking into that space that I had set up, I was feeling pressured. Like, I created this and now I have to do this. And I don't have to do that. It's all good on that end. Going to make it work, whether Blue Eyes is working full time or not. Just want to go with the flow. I enjoy being with him, so I want us to be together as much as we can, and we're just going to try to make it work so that I can still be busy while he's gone, but just being busy doing different things, and YouTube is the best option for that because I can crochet, I could do paper beads. And I know I keep talking about these things, but my life has been incredibly busy, very different. You know, this is all new to me, going back and forth from apartment to apartment, 2.5 hours away. I'm not complaining about it. We're just trying to make it work for both of us. Okay, so now let's get back to the hospital stay. Blue Eyes went into that hospital with multiple complaints. The one they focused on was his heart. They didn't test him for anything else, which kind of is upsetting to me. Did not like that hospital. But he was cleared of having a heart attack. So they seem to think his heart, with his 3 stents that he already has, is good. But of course they want him to follow up with the heart doctor that he has in Memphis, and also with all the doctors for a whole bunch of other things. And realistically, will he follow up with any of that? Probably not. And can I force him to? Absolutely not. I just step back and say to myself, if he never met me, he would not have me in his life to control things or suggest things or whatever. He would be doing what he wants. And that's exactly what he still has to do, what he wants. Just like I don't want somebody to come into my life and tell me what changes I have to make, or if he would say, you need to do this, or you need to get back to selling, or you should not get back into selling. I have to do what I want, and he doesn't get on my back about anything. And I can tend to get on someone's back, even just by saying, you really need to do the follow-ups. None of my business. None. I don't care if we love each other. I don't care if we are living together. I don't even care if we would be a married couple. You don't need to go into somebody else's life and try to change who they are. They're going to be who they are. You got to love them for that, or you got to leave. Those are the only 2 options for me. Accept him exactly as he is, or say, you know, this isn't working for me. It's not an ultimatum, but these are the reasons I'm leaving, you know. And then it would be up to him if he would want to make changes or not. But I don't do ultimatums at all, and I don't want ultimatums put on me. Boundaries are a different story. If I were to say, and I have said, if you were to ever start drinking or drugging again, I'm not expecting that, but I'm letting him know, you would need to go to rehab, because I won't watch that. And if that would happen, I would step back. That might sound like an ultimatum, but it's not. I'm not telling him what to do. I would be telling him what I would do if certain things happened. That's a boundary. You're just stating, this is what I would do. And there's none of this, do that or else. That you don't talk like that when it's a boundary. You just say, if this would happen, this is what I would do. And then it's up to them what they want to do with that information. And I think boundaries are very, very good. I have a hard time sticking to them, but they're very good, trying harder all the time. So the hospital, you might remember I talked about a particular nurse that he had the night he got there. And there's a video for that. I'll link to it down below. She was not cool, that nurse. However, one thing I want to clear up, because it sounded odd to me too. I think that and I still don't know. I have talked to this guy. I don't know what to call his job at the hospital, but I'm going to call him an advocate, a patient advocate. I think he just randomly, or maybe anytime somebody's new at the hospital, I think he visited Blue Eyes, and that it had nothing to do with the nurse making a complaint. I say this because I think it's very odd that a nurse would make a complaint about somebody, a patient, because anyone listening to that could think, well, what did you do to escalate this, or what did you do to calm it down? You know, she would be calling herself out in the way. Unless it would be that a patient threw a shoe at her and she just walked out of the room. Yes, you need to tell somebody that patient acted out, you know, did this. But that advocate came in, and I think because he came in, that Blue Eyes just thought she had complaint. And I think I might have added the word filed a complaint, not even thinking that that sounds like a written complaint. So I just want to clear that up. I still don't know the whole story about that. I tend to think that she might have talked and somehow that advocate got wind of it. I didn't want to put him on the spot when I talked to him to, say, did she talk to you? Whatever. The advocate listened to everything Blue Eyes had to say, and again, it wasn't a written, filed complaint. I don't know. It wasn't written, but Blue Eyes complained and told his story. And the nurse was not supposed to return. But guess what? The nurse was there that night. Blue Eyes talked to somebody else and said, she is not supposed to be my nurse. And they said, we don't have anyone else. That was the wrong thing for them to say, I learned. So when I went in on Thursday, I asked to speak to the advocate. I asked if he could come to the room, and he did. Oh, and get this. I brought my camera, right? And I went to push record, and before anybody says I can't record people in private, number one, HIPAA doesn't protect the staff. HIPAA is there to protect the patient. Staff can't just share his records with people. And some people are saying, they're not even allowed to talk to you, Darlene. You're not his wife. They're allowed to talk to anybody that Blue Eyes says they can talk to. So people take some things a little too seriously. Luckily for me, Arkansas is one of the few one-party consent states. Maine was, Mississippi was, and Arkansas is. One-party consent, and you can look it up, means that just one person has to know that something's being recorded as long as they're part of it. So if I'm talking to someone, I'm the party that's giving consent, and I'm part of the conversation. So I'm allowed to record, and this person or a whole room full of people do not have to know. They do not have to be made aware. As long as there's one person in that group who is part of the conversation, as long as one person consents. I know it sounds bizarre, but it's not illegal to do that. What is illegal is I can't go put a camera or a video or any way to record. I can't record even voice. Like I can't go do that and put that in the bathroom and be, at the sink washing my hands, and I'm recording two people in the stalls. I don't know why I'm picking a bathroom, but I'm recording the two people in the stalls having a conversation. I'm not a party to that conversation. So I am not allowed to do stuff like that. You're not allowed to do stuff. I can't be the one to consent because I'm not part of the conversation. But if you're part of the conversation, then that's all you need is one person to say, I'm allowing this, and you can do it legally. All right? So I had my camera, and I was putting it on in the elevator because I wanted to go to the front desk at his floor and ask about the advocate, and I wanted to know what they were saying to me. And I had 6 fucking minutes left on the battery, which in real time lasts maybe 1 minute, even though it says 6. I was so pissed. I can't record on my phone because my phone is so filled, it won't record. There's no room for that. Then I thought, Blue Eyes has a phone. I'll use his if it's, what do we call it? Charged. I sit down in his room, and immediately after me, the door opens, and it's his nurse, the nurse that's not supposed to be there, the nurse that he complained about. And she got up to the foot of his bed, said hi to me, and then looked at Blue Eyes and said, "You complained about me? Why on earth would you complain about me? Are you out to make me look like a bad nurse?" I was fucking floored and so incredibly pissed off that I couldn't be recording this. For a nurse to come in and call out the patient like that, and in front of someone, Blue Eyes was spot on. We didn't have this conversation. He said to her, "Just do what you're here to do and leave." And she went on and started saying again, "There's no reason for you to complain. Everybody likes me, and I don't know why you would do something like that." And I was like, oh, I could not believe what I was hearing. Blue Eyes again said, just do what you're here to do and then leave. And she started up again, and he said it a third time, and it was either third or fourth time that he said it. She did his vitals, and she just walked out. I never said a word. When she left, I was like, oh my God, I'm so fucking pissed that I don't have that recorded. So I said, do you have your phone? Is it charged? He's like, yes. Even if it wasn't, I could have charged it. So he showed me how to record. We got it set up, and I had it on my purse on the floor so that if she comes back in, all I have to do is push record. And I was going to make sure she came back in because I was going to slowly start the conversation, and I wanted to record that. And that's what happened. She comes in a little bit later, and I started by asking her some general questions about the insulin, because they're giving him the wrong insulin that doesn't work for him, and he has said it, and it's in his Memphis prescriptions stuff from the pharmacy that he goes to get his meds in Memphis, that it's that particular kind. He has type 1 brittle. It's very hard to regulate, and whatever stuff else they were giving him, I don't know all the names, but he knows. You know, I asked about that. I'm like, why is he not getting the insulin that he's been using? And I said, because I think you guys have it on record, because she had told me they didn't, but I knew that couldn't be right. And so she says, yeah, we do. She says, but we're doing something else. And she said something about a sliding scale, and all probably correct. But as a nurse, to me, she should have said, yes, we are doing something different. And if you'd like, I can send a doctor in to explain to you. You know, she's not the doctor. She's not the one making the rules. But she came up with this long story about how they're doing it, and that basically saying that Blue Eyes, you know, with him right there, and to him, you just don't know how we do things, and you need to be educated. She said the fucking word educated on this recording, and all that stuff. So I recorded that and more. It got to the point where she was acting like a narcissist in the way she was apologizing. She defended herself all the way through, denied things, and then changed her story and was like, I'm sorry. That's how a narcissist replies. I'm sorry. I did everything wrong. Another narcissistic thing. Everything. It's always exaggerated. That's not an apology. And she went on in that tone, and then that tone escalated. And then she finally just left. So I said, I've got a good recording on hand. Not long after that episode, the advocate came in, and I told him everything, and he was like, no, none of this is supposed to happen. And there's other things, too, that I complained about to him. I'll go look at the list. He was so incredibly nice, and he said, she was not supposed to be your nurse last night. And I said, but they said there was no, he says, oh no, there's always somebody else, always. He says, I am so sorry that that happened. And he says, we will be talking about this at the meeting, things like that. Let me go take care of my son's ground beef that I'm cooking. And that ground beef is so good. And he said, if you're here again tonight, you will not have her. And so I was pretty confident that if Blue Eyes wasn't going home, that he would not have that same nurse. When it got to the point where he knew that she came in and she started confronting him, I mean, he was like, what? And I told him, I said, I didn't have that recorded. I said, but I have another portion that covers some of that. Because I asked her a lot of questions. And, and of course I wasn't being heated at all. Blue Eyes and I knew I was recording. So it shows that even if we're talking really calm to her, that she was losing it. He kept his cool, I kept my cool. It was perfect. Except I wish I would have had the recording before. So the advocate listened to everything we said, and he went immediately to get 2 people in administration to come and also hear that story. And I played that other portion of the recording for them. The one thing I didn't like is the woman advocate said, Oh, but she did apologize at the end. And I said, that's not an apology. And I explained to her that it was, very animated. I said, it's a backhanded apology. I said, she's not sorry, because you don't go through saying all this and then all of a sudden say, well, I'm sorry. And that's how she was acting. It was so narcissistic. It doesn't mean she's a narcissist, but that's a narcissistic trait, and she had that trait. I'm so sorry. I did everything wrong. Anybody who all of a sudden says they did nothing wrong and then they did everything wrong? No. An apology is, you're right. I should not have come in here to talk to you. And she might have admitted that. I don't remember everything she said. It was a 16-minute recording of her defending herself. And again, though, nothing written. We didn't sign anything, but that was the best I could do. I wasn't going to push it beyond that, because realistically, are changes going to be made? Probably not, whether it's in writing or not. I would have liked to have something in writing. Maybe I still can, I don't know, but I don't know if I want to spend much time on that. Oh yeah, so let me go get that list. I can't remember everything that I said in this video because I've been taking breaks, but yes, I took Blue Eyes home that night. I think I did mention that. And Friday, we came back to Hernando. Tonight, he said he'd like to go out. He would like to hear a band, and I said I can try to find something low-key for us. And, as soon as you say you want to come home, because he gets tired just sitting, it like cuts the circulation off in his legs. And I said, the minute you say let's go, we'll go home. So hopefully we can do a little bit of something like that. I'm going by what he says. I'm not gonna say no, we can't do things now because I'm worried for your health. I'm just gonna let him do whatever he wants. I'll go with the flow. If he says he's good to go out, I'm gonna just say, yeah, okay, let's go out. Some of you in the comments feel like I should be taking more responsibility for this. We've known each other in less than 6 weeks. And even if we were together, and we're not living together, people say that you're living together now. No, I have my apartment, he has his. We just go back and forth. Haven't been apart for about a month, but that doesn't mean we're living together. And I never said that he had a heart attack. People said, oh, he had a heart attack. That's terrible. No, I never said that. I can't even imagine that I would have said that. The most I ever said was, it could be a heart attack, or he's had a couple of mild heart attacks in the past, but he didn't have a heart attack this time. And I don't think I said so in my video. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, yeah, so I touched on the wrong insulin. That's a big deal for me. And I did bring all that up. I did mention the no help to go to the bathroom. Even if he didn't need help, that aide did not offer help. That's the morning or the early afternoon after the night that he was there. And, I left him at 3 a.m. He was still awake. And so that next day, he had been laying down flat for quite a while. He was in distress. He was still dizzy. The things he was complaining about were still there. And when she just unplugged him and he sat up, and she just was walking to the door and said, let me know when you're back in bed and I'll come in and plug you back in. And I said, you're not going to help him to the bathroom? And she says, oh, does he need help? Do you need help? And he's like, no, I'm fine. And I said, well, it's not if he needs help or not, it's that you didn't ask. I mean, that just, again, it just blows my mind. And, it turned out he didn't need help, but she even said, if something happens in there, you have a call button. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for that piece of advice. So I did complain about that. And of course I was told not only should he have been offered help, but she should have said, I'm helping you. Because if he fucking falls, especially in front of a witness, that's not cool, okay? I want to get his records. I do, because I'm very curious to know. I'm sure I will be able to see them online at some point. And when he told them again with me right there, he's like, but what about my stomach pains? Why is nobody testing that? I mean, he had an ultrasound on his heart. He had a CAT scan. He had the nuclear stress test. And the nurse said, it's because you came in here complaining about chest pains, not stomach pains. And I said, oh, he complained about stomach pains right to the EMTs. Isn't there a record of that? I says, and he was saying it here too. And she just blew it off with, no, chest pains are what we thought was going on. And so that's what he's being tested for. If you have any other complaints about different pains, you need to just follow up when you're out of here. That's how we were being talked to. And then I did talk about the fact that I fell in there and that nobody did a report on that. And they said if I refused, since I refused going to the ER, no report was necessary. Had I gone to the ER, there would have been a report, not a complaint, but just a report about it. And I did mention how it's funny that nobody helped me up at all until they got me saying in a phone that I was refusing to go to the ER. That was more important to them. And I know it's because they're afraid I'm going to sue them. I'm not a person to sue somebody for tripping on my own foot, on my own shoe, in my own shoe, and falling, you know. But I did complain about it. And again, nothing written. I didn't do anything written. I didn't have time for that. But the other interesting thing is that his nurse, at one point I asked her, oh, did you hear? I almost became a patient here too. And she goes, oh, yes, I did. She says, you fell. And I would have loved to put her on the spot and say, oh, yeah, who told you? Now, I'm not protected by HIPAA. I'm not a patient. I'm just a visitor. But I found it odd that there was 7 people with me when I fell from the 2 desks that heard me, or whoever was on the floor. They heard me yell when I fell. It wasn't like a yell, but I was loud because I knew I was falling. I yelled, and then when I landed, I yelled again. So I had 7 staff members there, and I guess word got around that I fell because his nurse knew it, and she was not there when I fell. She wasn't even, in the building. She wasn't on her shift yet because it was earlier in the day. So I did mention that to administration too, that I said, I just find that it's odd that there's gossiping. I told them, I said, I just wish there was a way that staff members wouldn't gossip and say things to other members. And they brushed that off with, in meetings, they will say, so-and-so visiting so-and-so fell. And she says, but we don't use names. She goes, but it's pretty easy to figure out if we say the person who was visiting so-and-so, which was only me, fell. So again, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing. But I just don't like gossip, and I certainly don't like it in the workplace. Because they didn't just, say it in a way to let everybody know something happened. Those staff members, I'm sure, were laughing about it. I don't care. I just think it's unprofessional in the workplace. But who can control that? Huh? But I wish I would have said to that nurse, oh, so you listen to gossip? Something. I mean, I just would have liked to have been a smart ass to her. But I didn't want to, because I also wanted to get her to admit to some stuff on a recording, and she did. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Right now we're just going to do what we do. Whatever Blue Eyes and I feel like doing, that's what we're going to do. And we're good. We're good. We're on the same page with most things. Like I said, would I handle things differently or expect things to be handled differently if we were a young couple facing a future together, having kids, whatever? I think it's more important then that 2 people are really on the same page, like on almost all the pages. I don't worry about that. I'm not going to control his life, his health, any of that. I just want to enjoy being with him. And I want him to enjoy being with me. And if I become his mother, that's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun for him. He's not going to be attracted to that. And nor would I be if he tried to tell me what to do. And I'm amazed at the freedom I have with him. I'm absolutely amazed because I don't know any other men that I've met or been with this year who are that giving, even just giving me space to be exactly who I am and not complaining about that. Do we have things that we do differently? Absolutely. And kind of what we've decided is when we're at my place, we try to do things my way. When we're at his place, we try to do things his way. But even that is not set in stone. For instance, he can't have a light on in any room. Not any room unless you're in that room. He doesn't say it in a mean way. He doesn't tell me to shut the light in a controlling way. But he would go and even get out of his chair in the living room and go to the kitchen and just turn off the light and not say anything. And I said, oh, do you want me to turn the lights off? And he goes, that's just how I do it. He goes, but you don't have to. He says, you do what you want. And this is in his apartment. And if I want the light off, I'll just get up and turn it off. And I said, well, I don't mind turning lights off. I'm used to lights on because I work at home and I work out of 2 bedrooms. And when I go back and forth, I want every fucking light on in each room. I don't care if it's all day, all night. If I need light, I want the light on. And I don't want to be flipping the switch every time. And I don't care if I don't go into a room for 2 hours. The light is going to stay on. That's just how I am. I'm willing to pay the light bill. And I don't give a shit about wasting energy. So I thought that was really cool that he just said, you don't have to. Don't worry about it. If I want the light off, I'll get up and turn the light off. That's the way people should talk to each other. And I'm learning that from him. I'm telling you, I've learned some of my best lessons about dating while dating the various men that I've dated so far this year. And even the ones that I only chatted with. You can learn so much by just chatting with somebody. And so it's been a good experience. So I, too, am not going to tell him to leave my lights on, because the minute I leave a room here, he turns it off, and I'm not going to say to him, leave my lights on. If I want the light on, when I go back in, I'll turn it on. Does it sound like he's winning, that it's lights off versus lights on? I don't care. I don't care if he wins that one. It's just, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. He has a light thing. I'm okay with that. You can bet now that if it doesn't work out between me and Blue Eyes, the next guy would be having to be not controlling at all, because I don't need anybody telling me what to do and saying, well, you should do this way and you should do this that way. I don't need that. I want to have somebody add to my life and not make me start to feel bad about things. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. If he would have said to me, I don't want the lights on, and when you're here, please turn the lights off. Now I would look at that as being a little bit too controlling. I like his way that he figured out that you don't worry about it, Darlene. You can leave all the lights on in this apartment, is basically, like what he's saying. And if I want them off, I'll get up and turn them off. It's just, I thought it was brilliant. I really read into all the little things. And there's so many little things that we don't realize might upset us or discourage us or just make us feel bad. And those little things are meaningless. I never understood anyone complaining about somebody like not putting the seat back down or not putting the cover on the toothpaste. I always thought these are the stupidest fucking things to argue about. If you love each other, look at those little things and say, that's cute. That's cute that they never do that. My husband, his last beer would be left on the coffee table. All the other ones, he would throw the can away because he was going to get the next one, so he might as well throw it away. But the last one always sat on the coffee table, And I thought nothing of being the one to throw that away. And I had a friend at the time who said, I wouldn't put up with that shit. Tell him to throw that one away too. And I thought, is that necessary? He threw all the others away. I have more of an issue about the fact that he fucking drinks, not where he puts the last can. That's minimal concern to me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we just all have our ways, I guess, but I like to let people be who they are. I'm very good at that, to a fault sometimes, because I'll just accept pretty much anything. All right, you guys, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your concern about Blue Eyes. He reads all the comments. Oh, and the visit, his last night there, he's like, get in bed with me. And he like pushes over. I'm like, I'm not getting in bed with you in the hospital. And then I remembered, oh, Ryan O'Neal did that with Ally McGraw in Love Story back in, what, 1970? So I thought, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not taking my clothes off, right? I'm just going to be in bed with him, kicked my shoes off, and got in bed with him. And we had so much fun. And 3 different people came in to do vitals. And only one of them did I get up for that, whatever they were doing. And they were adjusting something, whatever. But the others, I just stayed there and we were reading comments on our phones. He had the Facebook ones open and I had the ones for YouTube, and we were just laughing and hugging and kissing, and we didn't give a shit who came in. I just stayed there and we just had so much fun. And I thought, this is what life is supposed to be like. You're supposed to have fun and enjoy who you're with and do fun, cute things together, and that's what he and I do. So I'm not complaining about I'm not going to complain about having to turn a light off. And I'm very, very good now at turning all the lights off in his apartment. And I've even started doing it in mine. Because if I'm not going back to the kitchen for a while, I can turn the light off. I'll save a little bit of money on my electric bill. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And for, like I said, for being concerned about Blue Eyes. He really appreciated all of that. And everybody keeps asking for his name. And all in good time. You got to see him, right? You'll get his name at some point. I'm just doing things a little bit at a time so I can keep you here until you find out everything. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Oh, and yeah, I'm sure one day we'll do a Q&A.